Hello, my name is Nova. Welcome to my channel, to my first ever reading vlog. I actually just finished the wrap up of this week, so you will see me again at the end, but I just wanted to introduce myself if you stumble across this video. I plan to do a more in-depth, like, about me, getting to know me kind of tag or something to introduce myself to having a channel for the first time. But you know, I was reading a really good book and I picked up the camera and decided it would be a good one to start with, and that one is Piranesi. This is going to be the majority of this vlog, but I also read a couple other books over the weekend, so stick around if you want to see me talk about those. You will also get to meet one of my cats in this vlog. Her name is Gumby. She's a sphinx cat, so you get to see a little naked baby, and she's extremely cute. So anyway, enjoy the rest of this vlog. Let me know what you think of the books that I end up reading, and yeah, I'll see you at the end. All right, inaugural reading vlog. So this is technically the beginning of my reading week, and it is a Thursday, but it's been a really weird week. Everything just feels really cursed right now. My carpal tunnel is messing up. I sprained my fucking toe last night. I don't even know. Anyway, I am finally sitting down to actually read a damn book. Gonna elevate my foot for my toe, and I'm going to read Piranesi. I've heard such good things about this, and I literally know nothing about it, but apparently that's the way you should go into it. All I know is that there's a guy named Piranesi, and there's some kind of house with like rooms and stuff like that. I have no idea. So I love going into books completely blind, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pop on the audiobook, and I will probably check in after, I don't know, 100 pages or so. Guess we'll see how I'm liking it.
Scholar, the magician, the adept, who is doing the experiment. Of course, I need subjects to do it on.
All right, earlier update than I expected. I am all the way on page 21. I have finished part 1, so I am on part 2 now. And this is already not what I was expecting, but I also don't really know what I was expecting, because everyone that I've seen read this on booktube has been really good about like keeping this pretty on, like, the plot on the down low, because everyone says that you should go into this blind, and I can already tell that I'm going to be glad I did. I feel like there's just like a lot to this world that's gonna be really fun to untangle and learn about and kind of put the puzzle pieces together. What I will say is it's very fun how it is told in journal entries. It's written in a way that, like, on page 1 I was already thinking I might be too dumb for this, and I was getting kind of nervous because it felt very convoluted. But now that I'm starting part 2, it's all starting to make a little more sense, and like the detail, I'm pretty sure I'm not necessarily expected to have a really good idea as to like what this world is. I think it's just that kind of like vast, and it's gonna take me on an adventure, right? So what I think I'm gonna do for reading vlogs, especially this one, is I'm going to have like a non-spoiler section and then a spoiler section, because if you're anything like me, I love to watch videos on books I haven't read or haven't really ever planned to read, and I want to know all the plot points of it as if I've actually like read it myself. So I'm going to flash on the screen whenever there's a spoilery section, and then you can just skip ahead to when, you know, it doesn't say spoiler at the bottom. So for the spoilery section, just in this first part, like I said, it's told in diary entries. So there's a guy named Piranesi, and he lives in this house that seems to have like infinite halls, infinite doors. They're like lined with like really intricate statues, infinite statues, and they're each different from each other. And so he's kind of going around, he's like a man of science, and he's basically noting all of the statues he comes across. He's noting just kind of like his everyday experiences and like a journal, and then he also has a journal entry in here where he details every person that he believes has existed in this house. Because like to him, the house is just kind of the world, it seems like, and to his knowledge only 15 people have existed. And so he kind of goes into detail, gives like names that he's given these people, because they all seem to be just bones, like they have already died. And the only other person aside from himself is someone who he calls the other, and they meet twice a week to talk about their science or something like that. The other thinks that there's like secrets to the universe that they need to uncover. A great and secret knowledge is how it's described. So I feel like that's going to influence the rest of the plot. Oh, popping back in for the spoiler section. At one point it kind of breaks the fourth wall, which I think is really fun. So whenever he was talking about the 15 people who have existed, he mentions the 16th person. And it says, the 16th person and you. Who are you? Who is it that I'm writing for? Are you a traveler who cheated the tides and crossed broken floors and derelict stairs to reach these halls? Or are you perhaps someone who inhabits my own halls long after I'm dead? So yeah, it's like he's writing in his journal to whoever finds it in the future, which I just think is a really cool framing device. I love when books are either written in the second person or break the fourth wall like that. It's very cool. Also, when he's writing in his journals, he mentions that he used to use a different, so word I'm looking. Oh yeah, he says, I have used 2 systems to number the years. So he talks about how he started writing in his journals saying the years like 2011, 2012, and then he switched into names of years like the year I named the constellations, the year I counted and named the dead, instead of like numbered years. So I feel like life was similar to what we know, like in the real world, and then something switched. It seems like he's forgotten something. It seems like there's like a pretty distinct cutoff from before and now. I'm remembering that. But I'm really liking how this is written. The audiobook is really good. And yeah, Piranesi just seems like a really interesting character, and I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun following him. I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm excited to see if I continue to be like a little bit confused the whole time. Is this a book of just like pure vibes? And yeah, I can't wait. Now I'll pop back in and like, you know, add 100 pages or so. So as I'm reading this, one of the more confusing parts about it is all of the mentions of like the different halls and vestibules, and the 12th hall in the western wing and the 16th vestibule, and it's a sprawling labyrinth of a house. And I don't think Susanna Clarke, Miss Susanna, is expecting us necessarily to like have a good mental image of this like labyrinth or anything, but I started wondering if somebody had actually taken the time to like make a map of this. And so I looked it up, and sure enough, somebody actually took the time to like read through this again, mark down every mention of the halls and vestibules and all that, and actually like made a little map. And I just think that's really cool. I'll pop it up here. Yeah, I don't know if this is considered a spoiler or not, because it mentions locations later on, but I don't think anything was necessarily spoiled for me. But I just thought that was really cool. That's not a small feat. The person who made it for Yuletide. So Yuletide, if you don't know, is like a yearly fic fest around Christmas time, where you can request for someone to like gift you a fic from a fandom. If I remember correctly, it's like a fandom that has like less than 1,000 fics in it or something like that. It's supposed to be for like these teeny tiny little fandoms, and so a good handful of people requested Piranesi, and this person made the map and gifted it to all of the people who requested it. So I just think that's cool. The internet's cool, fanfiction's cool. I love it. Hello, it is Friday. I didn't get to read much more of Piranesi last night. I stopped like halfway through the second section because me and my roommate got super distracted, but I really have been liking what I've been reading so far. So today's project is gonna be to finish that. What? She's screaming. Everyone say hi. This is Gumby. Yeah, so I'm gonna be finishing Piranesi tonight. I've got to feed the squirrels first. This is Gumby. Binks is downstairs. I'd be surprised if I got a video of her. Hi. Good lord. Anyway, yeah. Goal is to finish Piranesi, and then I also want to finish... Alright, Gumby, get down. Ow. So I have been reading It Came From the Closet I have read about 80% of it. I did it mostly last week before I started like vlogging and stuff. But you can kind of see where I've stopped because I've been tabbing all of the stories based on like kind of what I'm rating them, I guess. But so far I'm really, really, really loving it. I'm using my very topical bookmark. Yeah, so I'd love to finish this tonight if I can, so that I can kind of start fresh with a new book tomorrow. Oh, she's back. Okay, I'm gonna go feed them and then I'll check in. Quick check-in. I'm on page 125. I just finished part 3, so right about halfway done. I love it. I don't want to talk about anything with the plot because I also like, I feel the puzzle pieces starting to come together, but I can't confidently tell you exactly what's happening yet. I mean, I've still got half the book to go, so I feel like there's still a lot for me to uncover with all of this. Loving it, loving it, loving it. Do I understand everything? No. Do I care? No. Was I right about it being just like mainly vibes? For the first half, yes, but I feel like by the end, it's going to be equal parts like vibes and plot. I'm definitely gonna finish this tonight. Gumby. Hello, hello. It is the end of my reading week, which in this case is just like Thursday through Sunday. I ended up reading a bunch on Sunday though. So I guess I wanted to recap it all. The 2 books that I finished on Sunday, I didn't really vlog mainly because one of them, I only had like 20% left of it, and the other one was super quick. It was only, I guess because I listened to audiobooks on 2 times speed, it was only like 2.5 hours, so I just kind of breezed through it. But first and foremost, I finished Piranesi. I finished it on Friday and I loved it. Like easy 5 stars for me. I knew I was gonna like this. I really wanted it to be a 5-star book, but I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. All of the puzzle connecting aspects that I mentioned earlier in the vlog really came together in a really satisfying way at the end. I actually don't want to go into any more spoilers about it because, like everyone else says, this book is best experienced when you go in blind. What I will say is it's a little slower pace than I expected. I wouldn't say it's like magic adventure-y at all, even though there's like magical elements to this. It's almost like a meditation of a book because it's told through these journal entries. Yeah, so while it's slower, I never really found myself getting bored by this, and honestly sometimes I easily get bored when it comes to slower books, but it really worked for me, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Piranesi as a character is so likable, and he's got this like innocence to him and this optimism. And without giving any spoilers, I think a good thesis statement for this book is kind of finding beauty in any circumstance and in the surroundings that you're in, finding beauty in that. And yeah, I just really loved it. I'm really, really happy I finally got around to reading it. And yeah, that was a great way to kick off my very short reading week. Next, I'll touch on the book that I was talking about on Friday, which is It Came From the Closet, Queer Reflections on Horror. And so basically, you can kind of see I tabbed along each of these. It's 25 essays, nonfiction essays that connect a horror movie to an experience from the author's life. And yeah, I only had the last 20% of it. It's split up into 5 different sections, and so after reading for the past like week and a half, I've just been picking this up and reading just like a section at a time. And so I read the last 5 stories last night, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. I ended up giving this 4 stars as a whole. I feel like anthologies are gonna be tough to rate. This is technically my first anthology that I've ever read, So yeah, along the sides you can kind of see the pink ones were what I would consider like 5-star essays. The dark green ones, bluish ones are kind of the 4 stars, and then there's just a couple of the lime green, which I guess is like 3 stars. I guess this would average out to like a 4-star, but I ended up really enjoying it. The 5-star ones were really, really strong for me, and it kind of gives me the same energy as like watching a video essay on YouTube about something, like where they kind of make those connections between like this piece of media and like queerness or something like that. And they were short and bite-sized enough that I don't think any of them got dragged down or anything. There even might have been a couple that I wish were a little bit longer. But as for some of my favorites, Carmen Maria Machado, Both Ways, which is on Jennifer's Body, The Girl, the Well, the Ring by Zephyr Lisowski. That one's on The Ring and Pet Cemetery. Centered and Seen by Sumiko Salson, which is on Candyman. That one was really, really good. Blood Actually by Grant Sutton, which is on Friday the 13th Part 2. What's so fascinating about him is I liked this one enough that I like went to look up what else Grant Sutton has done, which is nothing. I can't really find anything else aside from like some little writing collections he's done that have quite literally 0 reviews on Goodreads. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know how he got in here, but I'm happy he did because I really, really enjoyed his, and I hope he writes more. Black Body Snatchers by Samuel Ottman was really good. That one's on Get Out. On Beauty and Necrosis by Sachiko Ragasta is on Eyes Without a Face, which I'd never heard of, but ended up going down a YouTube rabbit hole because that sounds like a wild movie. Yeah, but overall really strong. I feel like some of them, you could tell they picked the movie first and then wrote about their experience based on that. And then some of them, they had an experience that they wanted to talk about, and so they kind of found a horror movie that could be connected to that. But yeah, I would give it a shot, even if you haven't seen most of these movies. To be honest, I haven't seen most of these movies. I know a lot of the plots and like the big plot beats because of just osmosis of pop culture, but they do a really good job of giving you enough information in every essay that you don't necessarily have to have watched the movie to understand the connections that they're making. Yeah, highly recommend. I really enjoyed this. And then the last thing I ended up reading, I had gotten it from the library and I had a little extra time, so I kind of wanted to just blast through it, was All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson. And this is a memoir. If you've been paying attention to the book bannings happening in Florida, you'll know that this is one of the most contested books. I say book bannings in Florida, it's book bannings across the US, which is fucking nuts. But anyway, I saw this at the library, wanted to pick it up because I'd heard good things about it, heard awesome things about this author in general, kind of wanted to support it, and I really enjoyed it. This definitely reads a lot younger than I expected. This is like definitely on the younger end of young adult, but I think that's a good thing. And I think that was done on purpose because the thesis of this whole book is them wanting to write a book that would have helped them when they were younger. They want people to be seen. They want people to know that they are not alone in their experiences. And so I feel like if the right, preteen teen comes across this, it's going to be very beneficial for them. And I think that's the main goal of this book. And so it's not necessarily for me. I ended up not rating it mainly because I am not the target demographic for this. And so while I might have found certain parts a little repetitive or the writing felt a little young, I am not the target demographic. But overall, I love what it had to say about the intersectionality of Blackness and queerness. It's wild to me that this is one of the most banned books in the country. Actually, I've got 2 of them. Highly recommend them both. This one, if you haven't heard, is a graphic novel about someone who is non-binary, and I think this one's also very fantastic. I just wanted to do my due diligence and, give these both a try, and also just see what the whole hubbub was about, what these people are so angry at, which is nothing. But yeah, I would consider this like intersectionality for beginners. This is something good to get a young person in your life. If you're an adult like me and you're going into this expecting something like In the Dream House levels, it's not gonna be like that. But I did enjoy my time listening to this. Listening and reading. I pretty much tandem read everything I read, so, but also he does narrate his own audiobook, which is always a bonus for me. But yeah, that's it. That's the end of my first reading vlog. While it wasn't a full week, I still feel like I had a really good reading week. 3 books in a week is still very good for me. Lately I've been averaging about 10 to 12 books a month. So this is pretty much right on track for me. But yeah, if you made it this far, thank you so much. Thank you for watching my first ever video, my first ever reading vlog. Subscribe for more because I plan on doing more of these. I've just gone full steam ahead on reading this year and I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. I'm enjoying this reading journey, and yeah, if you're watching, thank you so much. All right, have a good one.